Hi guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a campaigner obviously against childhood sexual abuse, and basically all my life I've been abused since I was a little girl, right? My father, Derek, worked not in the television industry as an actor, not that I know of, but he delivered television sets to people, televisions, up blocks of flats, and he used to take me with him sometimes. He worked for a company called Granada with the red and black logo. Big it was. He drove a great big white van with Granada in letters, red and black, which to me is colours of Royal Mail, right? Red and black. Pillar boxes are red and black, Royal. So basically my dad was a TV installer and he used to take me in his van. And the way I was treated was absolutely disgusting. I would be thrown from side to side in the back of his van. No carpet, no nice, soft. I was actually in the back of my dad's van as a child, being taken with him on his journeys to install tellies. In the back of the van, being tossed from side to side. I remember looking through a hole in the bottom of his van, seeing right on through to the road as the van was driving along, and I was inhaling the exhaust fumes. Now you put children in car seats. People are more child aware now, but back in the day I was just treated, like a dog. Tossed about, taken everywhere, used and mistreated. But it wasn't until I got older that I actually realised what my dad was doing to me. And now it should stop. I mean, I'm obviously a full-grown adult. I'm getting on. Most of my life has been wasted due to my father's neglect and abuse of myself. And I just want to really get on with my life, right? So I showed you in the previous video that a letter was signed Craig Kendall. Now they take the piss out of my abuse. They take the piss out of it. Because Kenneth Kendall worked for the BBC, he was a British broadcaster. I've got it up here. Here's a picture of him. That is Kenneth Kendall. Right, that's him. That's Kenneth Kendall. Kenneth Kendall was a British broadcaster. He worked for many years as a newsreader for the BBC. So he was born in August 1924 and he died in December 2012 in Cowes. C-O-W-E-S. Cowes. Right. Also, right, he's obviously surrounded by some sort of scandal, because most of these BBC broadcasters are being found out as abusers. So, going to one of these pieces. Kenneth Kendall's partner committed suicide, overcome by grief. That's Kenneth Kendall's partner, and he was 55 when he committed suicide. He killed himself, apparently. The partner of former newsreader Kenneth Kendall killed himself because he could not face the future without him, an inquest has heard. Francis Fear, known as Mark, was found at his Isle of Wight home on the 29th of April, 4 months after Mr. Kendall's death. Mr. Kendall, the BBC's first on-screen newsreader, who also presented Channel 4's Treasure Hunt, died following a stroke in December, aged 88. He and Mr. Fear, 55, they were living as a gay couple, were civil partners and had been together for 23 years. The couple had met in London and had opened a gallery together in Cowes following Mr. Kendall's retirement from television work. So do you see that they fuck around with my post? And I'm going up to see my mum. We're not a gay couple. Jennifer is my mother. And she's nearly 80. And my dad and me was father and daughter. I was Derek's daughter. But you see how they fuck around with your posts? I believe all my mail is fake. It's crap. It will eventually come out. It is a fucking great big conspiracy. It's just fake. All of it. And just by talking to people, like I got a link to this. Look, I've got loads of other paperwork from when I was put in a women's refuge. How the fuck could I possibly be a man? You don't put men in women's refuges, do you? So if we go to YouTube, right, and you type in Kenneth Kendall, I didn't find out he was an actual abuser till I watched this video. So Kenneth Kendall, it's gone all about his dying and his death, but he was a BBC news presenter. But this guy, Paula Mann, is claiming that Kenneth Kendall was actually a sex abuser. Right? So I was going through this morning snippets of my Facebook, and one of my doctors was called Nighat. Nighat. Told you I've had a doctor. I was waiting a doctor's surgery, and I'm being humiliated where I go, left, right and centre, even in doctors' waiting rooms. And Dr. Poo Poo came up, not as in P-O-O-P-O-O, but P-U-P-U, Dr. Poo Poo. I mean, what sort of person is dealing with my affairs? What sort of mentality has this person got? So, Paula Mann, BBC, Hugh Edwards, Kenneth Kendall, Metropolitan Police, child abuse. Go further down. Going to put Paula Mann has suffered sexual abuse. He suffered sexual abuse. Paula Mann, by Kenneth Kendall. What are they trying to cover up? My dad did not actually, well, how do I not know that my father wasn't involved in the acting industry if he was involved with, television sets? Right, I'm going to read this piece out from Paula Mann's video, and this is him claiming that Kenneth Kendall abused him. When I was about 8 years old, I was sexually assaulted by Kenneth Kendall in public toilets in Bristol. The only time the police were involved was when I burgled his house as revenge. So Paula Mann burgled Kenneth Kendall's house in revenge. The BBC won't do anything with this information as they will be keen to cover it up. You have the duty to take this information and report it. However, I will not pass on my personal details as I do not trust the BBC. So, if you go by what Paul and Man is saying is true, then Kenneth Kendall was a child abuser. So, why are they sending me letters out with Kendall as the surname? Because Kenneth Kendall was a child abuser. My father abused me. I'm a victim. And yet I'm the one who's being treated like I'm an abuser, which is wrong. So I just wanted to point that out. Every letter that comes through my door, right, I see who it's been signed by. So they're all guilty of neglect. The doctors, one of my doctors was called Dr. Chatterjee. He turned out to be a sex pest. There was an article on him in the newspaper, the local Kent newspaper. Dr. Ali worked at the halfway surgery in Chatham, Dr. Ali, right? My son and I were a patient of Dr. Ali. And he turns out to be a sexual predator as well. Dr. Ali turned out to be a sexual predator. When I was in Gloucestershire, the local milkman was called Tony. And he was, I said, "Where's the milkman gone?" to my ex-husband. I said, "Where's the milkman gone? Where's Tony?" "Oh, he's been, something to do with kids." The milkman. And as you know, right, I was abused since, at least 10. And then Rosemary and Fred West in Gloucestershire came out, didn't they, with all those bodies in the garden. And Fred West had a wonky tooth, didn't he? He had a fucked up front teeth, Fred West. And Heather was hit over the head with a shovel and buried in the garden because basically she was trying to tell what they were doing. So do you see all this? But I've never been able to speak and tell my story. Never. It's always hearing it out of other people's mouths. And I keep saying to myself, well, you're making me look like I'm a criminal and I'm a perpetrator and I'm a victim. And I don't like what's going on. It's not funny and you shouldn't make fun of it. You shouldn't cover it up either. And how comes, Kenneth Kendall, way back when, right, he came out as gay as well. He was living with his gay lover, which is nothing wrong with that. But then we've had Philip Schofield being married, right, and then turning out to be gay. What is going on? And the number of people, I mean, it's just getting so ridiculous now. Every day somebody's being, like, they've done this, they've said that, right, they've told a rude joke. Right, do you know how many women get abused by men, or vice versa in relationships, and get told rude jokes? I mean, come on. I've been into my local shop and someone shouted out, "Sexy legs." It was a woman. It's not always men either. There are women involved in it as well. It just seems to be highlighted, getting men highlighted at the moment. But when women commit sex crimes, and, commit sexual harassment, it's not just men. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. And every time I try to get to the bottom of it, I mean, I don't want to be hushed up. I don't want to be given money to shut my mouth. I think it's wrong. I think we need to protect children. And I think, you know, people that are experiencing what I've been experiencing should come forward and speak. And not be hushed up with money. And, you know, women that protect paedophiles, right, covering up what they're doing and not helping their children at all. They're not. 9 times out of 10 they will say they are frightened of their partner, but then do you be brave and protect your kids, or do you keep letting a paedophile carry on with what he's doing? I know what I do myself. Right, so I wanted to show you that. I've got paperwork from being in women's refuges, and basically the same fucking bullshit, bullying, harassment went on in those. They tried to cover up what my father was doing and tried to shunt me away to Seaford. Seaford, miles away from my family and children, and protect him. They didn't interview my dad. They didn't arrest him. They tried to shunt me off to Seaford, out the way. And they think now he's dead, I'm going to shut my mouth and it's all over, but it's just begun. See you later.